Hello, everyone. Welcome to our webinar. We'll just give everyone another minute to join. We're excited to have you here today. For those of you just trickling in, we're just giving everyone a couple more seconds to join. We'll be starting in just a moment. Well, with that, we'll get started. But before I jump into the material today, I just wanted to go over a few housekeeping items. All of the slides we'll be sharing with registered attendees within the week. If you have any questions, you can enter them into the chat at any point. We'll be responding to all the questions at the end of the webinar during a Q&A session. And with that, I'm Kelly McElwain. I'm the Manager of Research and Industry Intelligence with the Public and Affordable Housing Research Corporation. And I'm joined today by Kate Asp, who's a research analyst on our team. And together, we make up HAI Group's research team at the Public and Affordable Housing Research Corporation, also known as PAHRC. And PAHRC is a nonprofit that's a part of the HAI Group family of companies. As some of you may know, HAI Group is the nation's leading insurer for public and affordable housing. And HAI Group is committed to supporting affordable housing providers through whatever challenges they may face, whether it be through solutions related to insurance, risk management, training, and research, which we'll be focusing on in today's webinar. If you can advance to the next slide. Today, we will be talking about a little bit about what we do and our history. And then we're going to highlight some of the key findings from our past research and share how you can use these studies to support your work. And this webinar is designed to scratch the surface on PAHRC's research and briefly introduce our data tools. If any of the topics we mentioned today interest you, we encourage you to access the full report or reach out to us with questions after the webinar to learn more about a particular study. And then we're going to close with an overview of what's next and have some time for questions. Next slide, please. So, over 10 years ago, there were many myths about affordable housing. These misconceptions included who lives in affordable homes, the resources housing providers need to do their job, the impact that affordable homes have on their communities, and there was also a need for additional research that examines the policies and programs that position affordable housing providers and the households they serve for success. So, in response to these needs, HAI Group founded PAHRC in 2012 to develop both research and data that spotlights the impact, outcomes, and value that affordable housing brings to families and communities. And through this work, PAHRC also equips housing providers, policymakers, and the general public with information about affordable housing policies and programs. Next slide, please. So to do this, we collect and analyze data. And this can include characteristics about the affordable housing stock, resident population served, and program outcomes. And using this data, we write reports, blogs, and research briefs. And these reports have covered topics ranging from challenges that make it difficult to maintain affordable homes, exposure to natural hazards, and case studies about effective policies and programs implemented by housing providers. We also create data tools to equip your organization to apply our research to your everyday work. An example of this is our National Housing Preservation Database, which can help you locate affordable housing in your community and understand the characteristics of these properties. We also consult on research projects. We've worked with housing authorities to evaluate their programs, to locate research to inform their landlord engagement strategies, and describe the characteristics of their affordable housing stock to inform their redevelopment strategies. One of our goals is to produce resources that the affordable housing community can use. And to support this, we also present our work at conferences and webinars like this. And to ensure that our research really meets this goal, we also partner with many affordable housing advocacy organizations. Next slide, please. Some of our key partners include the Public Housing Authority Directors Association, the National Association for Housing Redevelopment Officers, and the Council of Large Public Housing Authorities, as well as the MTW Collaborative. And we work with these organizations regularly to inform our research agenda. We also partner with the National Low Income Housing Coalition to maintain the National Housing Preservation Database, which I mentioned earlier, and also to produce joint research about affordable housing preservation. We've also worked directly with various housing authorities on consulting projects, as I mentioned earlier. Next slide, please. Before we jump into our research, I wanted to take some time to share how PAHRC's data and research has been used. And these are potential ways that your organization can benefit from these resources. PAHRC's work has been pivotal in securing additional funding to support affordable housing preservation. Data summaries we created were used to justify funding $100 million to build and preserve affordable homes in 2 different states. Data on affordable housing characteristics we provide through the National Housing Preservation Database has also been used to create and enforce policies to support affordable housing preservation strategies. This data has also informed the lending strategy of major financial institutions, including Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. Dozens of cities, counties, and states have also cited our data when developing their affordable housing needs assessments. The Department of Transit has also used this data to competitively rank applicants for federal transit grants to promote access to public transit near affordable homes. Research that PAHRC sponsored was also cited by Congress as justification to expand regulatory flexibilities to housing authorities through the Moving to Work demonstration. But this is really just the start. Our goal today is to really help your organization leverage this research to achieve goals that protect and expand access to affordable homes. So with that, I'm going to pass it off to Kate, who's going to begin by discussing some of the key findings from our latest report so that we can continue building this momentum and expanding some of these success stories.
Thank you, Kelly. Hi, everybody. Like Kelly mentioned, I am Kate Asp. I am the research analyst here at PAHRC, and I'm excited to be here today to share a bit about our work with all of you. So before I begin, I just want to note one thing. We may use multiple terms interchangeably, such as federally assisted homes, affordable housing, assisted housing, etc. But with these terms, we're really just referring to a property that receives some type of rental subsidy. So just want to clear that up right at the beginning so there's no confusion. So with that said, let's go ahead and dive into some of PAHRC's past research. It lets me change the slide. There we go. So who lives in affordable homes? Unfortunately, like Kelly mentioned, there are often myths about who lives in affordable homes and why they live there. To build those evidence-based cases for why affordable housing matters, we think it's really important to understand who affordable housing actually serves. So ranging from special features on children and families who live in affordable housing to older adults and special populations, PAHRC's housing impact reports have provided insight on the people that live in affordable housing. For example, assisted housing programs help over 14 million people and 7 million households nationwide. Affordable housing prevents homelessness and helps lift individuals and families out of poverty. With nearly 5 million children, 3 million older adults, over 2 million disabled individuals, and over 6 million extremely low-income families, and hundreds of thousands of veterans live in affordable housing and have a safe, accessible place to live. Affordable housing provides stability that can lead to better education and health outcomes for children, provide older adults a safe home where they can age in place, and helps individuals with disability live more independently and more safely. Those living in assisted homes are some of the most vulnerable individuals and families and are often notably different from their low-income unassisted peers. Over half of assisted households are headed by someone that is either elderly or disabled. 1 in 3 households are comprised of families with children, and over 3/4 of households with children are headed by single mothers. Only 13% of households living in assisted housing are not elderly, disabled, or have children. So with that said, how can you use this research? We know there are advocates here with us today, from local government to on the Hill. Advocates dedicate so much time and resources to furthering safe, fair, and affordable housing. And our hope that with this research, it's going to equip you with the data that you need to drive the evidence-based case for support and investment in affordable housing. We hope you can take these numbers and really drive forward an impact for the field. And like I said, PAHRC's research also aims to dispel myths about who lives in affordable housing and why they live there. So the housing impact reports explain who affordable housing actually serves and why affordable housing is critical to those that live in it. PHAs can use this research to highlight the importance of their work to community members, potential partners in building relationships, and more. So moving on besides our housing impact reports, we also have done some other work in the past. So some of that work has centered around what challenges residents and housing providers face. So much like understanding who lives in affordable homes, it's really important to understand what challenges both residents and housing providers face before planning or implementing affordable housing policies or diving into program work. In several past reports, PAHRC has examined the specific hurdles residents face and how affordable housing can positively impact education and career outcomes. Past reports on this topic range from how affordable housing helps low-income seniors have a healthier future to employment and education hurdles for those living in assisted homes. So most families that can work are working. Our research has found that nearly 4 in 5 households that receive assistance that are able to work are working or have recently worked. Yet these families face multiple labor market barriers that limit their wages, limit their hours worked, and limit their job advancement. This is often one of the largest myths associated with affordable housing, that the majority of residents do not work and do not want to work. However, we do see the opposite in our research, and of those that do not work, nearly half are caretakers for their family. And then of those that do work, like I said, they tend to face challenges. So looking at able-bodied working age families, PAHRC's past research has found that assisted families report higher rates of caretaking responsibilities and volatile work schedules compared to the low-income unassisted peers. This really highlights the important role that PHA programs play in the lives of residents, as programs that offer things such as affordable childcare to residents can really alleviate the burdens that come with volatile work schedules. Additionally, able-bodied working-age residents also have lower levels of educational attainment, poor reported health, and more stagnant wages compared to the low-income unassisted peers. So there's a notable difference in these populations. Additionally, children face greater obstacles. This ranges from learning disabilities such as ADHD, speech or language impairment, and developmental delays, to illnesses such as asthma, allergies, and additional health limitations. Unfortunately, children living in assisted housing often attend lower resource schools, which can impact their long-term educational attainment, as this may put them behind their peers when preparing for college. Assisted children also face lower rates of internet access, which is extremely important, especially in this digital age. And then again, PHA programming can really help with these burdens. For example, Seattle Housing Authority has created a program called Digital Navigators that not only teaches individuals to use the internet, but also provides them with devices to access it. And they've also worked to install free internet at their properties to help decrease disparity in internet access. So there are things that PHAs can do, but these problems truly are real and they exist, and there's differences between assisted renters and their other low-income peers. Beyond children, and much like children in affordable housing, older adults have unique needs compared to their unassisted low-income peers. For example, as you can see, they have lower self-reported health, with 46% reporting they are in good or excellent health compared to 57%, 11 percentage point difference of their low-income peers. They also have higher rates of chronic illness, such as high blood pressure, arthritis, heart disease, etc. They're more frequently impacted by mental health conditions such as depression and anxiety, with 12% of assisted adults and 5% of unassisted adults experiencing these struggles. There's nearly a 20 percentage point difference in mobility limitations. They more frequently rely on public transportation, and there's over a 30 percentage point difference in rates of living alone, along with higher rates of needing personal care and more. So again, just notable differences that make assisted housing extremely important for these individuals. Luckily, like I mentioned, affordable housing can help older adults age in place comfortably. Older adults living in assisted homes report fewer moves, greater accessibility features, access to in-home care, access to public transit, greater social interaction and community involvement, which is really important, greater access to medical care, and even less anxiety about affording their medical care compared to the low-income unassisted peers. So affordable housing makes a difference, and we hope that our research, which shows that, can equip you all with the tools and information that you need to prove that to those that you're advocating for affordable housing for. So with that, I'm going to pass it back to Kelly to share more about PAHRC's past work.
Thanks, Kate. So, our work has also highlighted the initiatives public housing authorities are leading to support their residents. Over the years, we've surveyed and interviewed many housing authorities about their programs and partnerships to improve health, education, and fair outcomes for residents of all backgrounds. And the reports I've listed here catalog the types of organizations PHAs partner with to advance their goals, how these partnerships were formalized, who these programs serve, and opportunities to overcome barriers to strengthen these programs. Next slide, please. And these reports can be used to identify policies and programs implemented by your peers. For instance, our PHA Pathways to Advancing Equity report features 19 policies, programs, and practices implemented by housing organizations across the country to improve housing, health, education, and employment outcomes for both underserved and underrepresented populations. And this ranges from Akron Metropolitan Housing Authority's full-term first birthday program, which aims to reduce infant mortality by connecting pregnant parents to housing assistance and supportive services, to Cuyahoga Metropolitan Housing Authority strategies to engage residents and expand transit and health access where their residents live. And if you're interested in replicating a program in your community, you could also use these reports to learn about what made these initiatives successful. This same report also features advice for implementing these strategies. Common advice that we learned from housing authorities that was cited in this report includes ideas for building trust with residents, developing partnerships, and securing staff buy-in. And finally, you can also use these stories to advocate for the need and impact of affordable homes to policymakers. Next slide. These reports have found that more than 4 in 5 PHAs that we surveyed implemented strategies to improve health, education, and resident outcomes generally. Examples of programs that we featured in these reports include Rutland Housing Authority's Support and Services at Home program. And this initiative improves health outcomes for older adults and helps them age in place by providing health and wellness assessments, care plans, care coordination, and general health outreach programs. And this program has helped reduce healthcare expenses and increase vaccination rates, advance directives, and hypertension mitigation among participants. An example of an education program we featured includes Asheville Housing Authority's Marvelous Math Club. And this after-school program helps young children gain confidence in math in a fun and engaging way. It's facilitated by a local community college, high school students, and community members at a local public housing property. Math leaders participate in the club and choose between a combination of self-care, play, homework, and sharing math concepts that they learned. Next slide, please. And if you're a housing authority or a housing organization looking to implement one of these initiatives in your community, you can follow some of the steps listed in our Strategize, Start, and Sustain report. And while these tips feature advice for facilitating health initiatives specifically, they can also apply to a variety of housing organization-led programs. You can start these programs by collecting feedback from residents. Ultimately, understanding the needs of your residents is essential to developing programs that they will participate in and benefit from. And centering resident feedback can also help make these programs more sustainable. And with this guidance, you can then add goals to improve resident health in your organization's strategic plan or whatever type of partnership that you are looking to implement. And when prioritizing steps to implement in your strategic plan, you can consider elevating low-hanging fruit to build momentum and create a timeline for metrics and evaluate progress towards these goals. And once your leadership team has established internal priorities, you can get staff on board and begin locating resources to turn your vision into action. And this can include delegating or hiring staff members responsible for managing these initiatives and partnerships. Most agencies, though, depend on partnerships to facilitate the programs that they administer. So, developing partnerships that align with your organization's mission can help grow the reach of these programs. And to do this, you can join local committees, boards, and working groups to leverage your staff's network to develop these relationships and partnerships. And if long-term partnerships are not feasible initially, you can start building these out by working with one-time programs. And once a partnership has been identified, you can catalog what each partner brings to the table to help ensure that it is sustainable. To do this, you can train staff at both organizations so that you understand each other's lingo and structure, schedule regular check-ins, and clarify each partner's responsibilities. Funding is obviously really essential to help roll out these programs too, so partnering with public, private, and philanthropic organizations can help you further advance these initiatives. So I encourage you to check out that report if these partnerships are something that interests you. Next slide, please. Another focus area of PAHRC's research is identifying challenges that impede or catalyze the preservation of affordable housing. Next slide, please. Our Beyond Public Housing report describes the tools that are available to public housing authorities that want to build and preserve affordable housing in their communities. We know that many housing authorities are evolving how they serve families in response to funding shortfalls and financial pressure. And this report really highlights the resiliency of public housing authorities by quantifying how many housing authorities are developing affordable housing outside of the public housing program. And as of 2021, when this report was released, at least 1,600 housing authorities own, sponsor, or manage 384,000 homes assisted by programs other than public housing. Next slide, please. And our Picture of Preservation report has also explored the preservation risks that threaten the long-term affordability of federally assisted homes. The three most common risks that we featured in this report include exit, depreciation, and appropriations risk. And exit risk refers to the likelihood that homes will no longer be affordable once their subsidies expire or their owners choose to opt out of these affordability programs. Depreciation risk refers to the physical and financial condition of affordable homes, while appropriations risk refers to the degree which funding is available to preserve affordable housing. Next slide, please. And using the National Housing Preservation Database, which Kate will give a quick demo of in a moment, we find that affordability restrictions are set to expire for 347,000 federally assisted homes in the next 5 years. And this represents 7% of the federally assisted rental housing stock. And while many of these properties will renew their assistance or secure new funding to continue to remain affordable, some characteristics could increase the likelihood that these properties will lose their affordability. Next slide, please. Characteristics that influence the likelihood that properties will lose their affordability include property size, additional affordability requirements imposed by states or localities, whether a subsidy is renewable, the strength of the local housing market, and whether the owner is profit driven. And we find that more homes with upcoming expiring affordability restrictions have characteristics that could increase their likelihood of exiting the housing stock. 72% of affordable homes with restrictions expiring in the next 5 years are assisted by non-renewable subsidies, which has increased from 49% in 2019. Owners of these properties may need to compete for additional subsidy allocations to invest in their long-term maintenance. Additionally, many more federally assisted homes facing exit risk are owned by profit-driven organizations compared to 5 years ago. 60% of federally assisted homes that are expiring are owned by profit-driven organizations, which is up from 53% in 2019. And really, all of this emphasizes the importance of investing in the not only tracking where these properties are located, but ensuring that resources are made available to ensure that these properties continue to remain invested in. So with that, I'm now going to pass it back to Kate to share how you can use the National Housing Preservation Database to identify these properties and support their long-term affordability.
Thank you, Kelly. So now that we've shared a bit about our work, I'm excited to share a bit about our data and data tools. So like Kelly mentioned, the National Housing Preservation Database, also known as the NHPD, is something that Parks worked on for quite some time now. So we created the NHPD in collaboration with the National Low-Income Housing Coalition in 2012, and it's the only comprehensive, deduplicated property-level database of federally subsidized housing across the country. Prior to the NHPD, individuals, organizations, just interested parties in general, would have to go to many different data sources just to find the information on all the affordable housing in their area or all the subsidies that assist a single property. And this is really not feasible day to day for the average individual. You can't be digging through databases every day. So with the NHPD, we wanted to simplify this task and bring all those sources together into one local place that you can go to get the information that you need. So use cases for the NHPD that we've seen are quantifying the supply of affordable housing, identifying at-risk properties to inform preservation strategies, identifying applicable affordable housing regulations for legal aid organizations, and more. Our users range from researchers, policymakers, and PHAs to individuals seeking housing assistance, which is actually one of our largest use case categories. And like Kelly said, earlier, the NHPD has been used to justify millions of dollars. It supports preservation plans and has been used to competitively rank grants. So, wide variety of use cases that we'd love to talk more about if you're interested. And then in addition to the database, Park creates other tools, such as the one here, this mapping tool, to further support users. The mapping tool is a really great resource to help PHAs identify properties to acquire and preserve, help housing choice voucher holders find housing, and bolster advocacy work, or again, help individuals find affordable housing in their area. So with that, I do want to go ahead and give a quick demo of our mapping tool. All of our research related to the National Housing Preservation Database and our data tools related to the NHPD can be found at preservationdatabase.org. Park-specific research can be found on our personal website, but this is where the mapping tool lives. So if you go to the home page and you want to scroll down here, click the mapping tool icon, and it will take you to our mapping tool. Something I'll say while this is loading is we are currently in the process of revamping the mapping tool, hoping to make it even better for all of you, and we're excited about some of those changes that we're making. This is what you see when you open mapping tool initially. It tells you a bit about the mapping tool and how to use it. And then if you look up here, you can also find the legend. So these different colors correspond with different funding streams. And we have a couple informative charts for all of you just to learn a bit more about assisted housing nationally. And then this is a summary of all the properties at your level that you've zoomed in or out to. So one of the main use cases of the mapping tool is to filter at one of these levels here. So let's say me and Kelly are in Connecticut right now, and I'm interested in learning about all the properties in Connecticut. So I'll go ahead and select that state. And if it loads properly, it will zoom into Connecticut. So I'll pick another town here while we're at it. I'll select Bridgeport. Being a little bit finicky right now, so I'll pan and zoom so we don't have to do that waiting. And now I see all of Connecticut. And I'll just zoom into New Haven here. And I can see all the properties located in New Haven. And if I wanted to filter, let's say just for LIHTC properties, I could do so. If I want to filter by end date, that's something else you can do if you scroll down here. And then currently we also have a score for REAC, or a filter for REAC score, total units at a property. Are you looking for information on larger properties, etc.? So lots of potential things you could do with filtering. You could select multiple states to learn about a region. If you're interested in just New England, you could select the New England states, etc. So you can really filter in on your local area to gain insights into your community. I'll go ahead and minimize this for just a second. So beyond the mapping tool, Park and the National Low-Income Housing Coalition recently launched a preservation dashboard alongside our 2024 Picture of Preservation report. The dashboard is an interactive tool that visualizes data-driven insights on the affordable housing stock, as well as preservation risks across various geographic levels. Our main goal with the dashboard was to create a tool that can be filtered on state, county, and congressional district to allow advocates, stakeholders, and policymakers easily gain insights into the status of affordable housing in their communities. So, whereas the mapping tool might be good for a one-off search or search for housing in your community, the main goal of the preservation dashboard is to be a quick one-pager that you can print out to showcase a wide variety of the stats of your area of interest, hopefully to inform preservation and promote investment in affordable housing. So for your selected level geography, in location, you can filter the dashboard to showcase things like the key facts seen here. And I'll go ahead and pull that dashboard up really quick. Here we are again. I'll go back to our home page. If I'm looking for this on the homepage, I go to our reports, and you can find preservation dashboard, view interactive dashboard, and it takes you directly to the site. And personally, I like to scroll down to the bottom and put this in full screen just to give you the best view. And let's say, again, let me go to Connecticut here. Oh, oh, taking a second to load. Go back to Connecticut. Okay. Just like that, all the stats just filtered for Connecticut. So I'm in Connecticut. I'm looking at the data as of 2023. We have 73,000 total assisted homes, almost 1,000 preserved in recent years, over 5,000 set to expire in the next 5 years, etc. So this can help inform preservation strategies. As you can see, it's about 50-50 on if the subsidies expiring in the next 5 years are renewable or non-renewable. And I can also see just general timelines of the next 30 years of when we might see some spikes in expiration, which can inform long-term planning. So this is a really great resource for advocates. You can export some data and you can turn this into a PDF or an image and take that with you to any meeting that you so desire. So I definitely encourage checking out both those tools. And with that, I'll pass it back to Kelly to share a bit more about Parks Past research.
Thanks, Kate. So, a final research question that we'll be covering today that Parks work has examined is understanding where affordable homes are located. So, this includes cataloging the natural hazard risk, labor market access, educational opportunity, health outlook, and transit access of the neighborhoods that affordable homes are in. And these reports are often accompanied with data tools that can help you understand where properties are located in your community. And while we won't be featuring these mapping tools in our webinar today, be on the lookout for a webinar later this year where we will be focusing exclusively on all of Parks data tools. As Kate mentioned, we're undergoing some updates on the mapping tools, so we wanted to wait to have a webinar to launch all of those. So we're really excited, and we'll talk more about some of the research and data tools to come at the end of the webinar. Next slide, please. Understanding where affordable homes are located in can help you inform grant proposals. So quantifying natural hazard risk, for instance, can help you justify grant programs to improve resiliency, while understanding transit and education opportunity can help make the case for funding on-site services. This data can also help you assess the neighborhood conditions of your properties if you manage them. And that can help you prioritize acquisition and redevelopment plans. For instance, many housing authorities examine their transit and health outlook for the neighborhoods their properties are located in when comparing different site selection opportunities. Next slide. In our Natural Hazards and Federally Assisted Housing report, found that many affordable homes and their residents are in communities at the greatest risk of negative impacts from natural hazards. And this highlights the importance of strategies and resources to help affordable housing providers equitably plan for, mitigate, and respond to natural hazards. So, to quantify this risk, in our report, we use FEMA's National Risk Index, also known as the NRI. And the NRI quantifies the potential for negative impacts resulting from 18 natural hazards, which can range from anything from earthquakes to wildfires, all the way to volcanic activity. So, it really spans the gamut. And FEMA calculates overall risk for each census tract, which roughly corresponds to a neighborhood, based on an assessment of these areas' expected annual losses from natural hazards, the social vulnerability of the residents living in these communities, and the community resilience. And using the NRI, we find that nearly 1.2 million federally assisted rental homes, which represent a quarter of the affordable housing stock, are in census tracts with the highest potential risk of negative impacts from natural hazards nationwide. And the number of federally assisted homes in areas with the highest risk rises when risk is determined relative to other areas within their respective state, which is often the context in which many communities are planning and allocating scarce resources to invest in mitigation activities. We find that nearly 1.5 million federally assisted homes are in census tracts with the highest risk of negative impacts from natural hazards within their state. So certainly it's really important to understand which communities are at the highest risk and ensuring that your properties, should you manage them, are protected and that you have the data to help make the case to apply for funds to help mitigate these risks. Next slide, please. We also find that affordable homes are located in a variety of neighborhoods. Our strategies for investing in opportunity report developed a framework to assess opportunity, desirability, and the trajectory of neighborhoods compared to their metro area. And this framework can help inform affordable housing development and planning strategies. And in this report, we define neighborhood desirability as the preference for and the quality of a given neighborhood as measured by things like the percent of higher earning households, the poverty rate, the personal crime index, the housing vacancy, and median housing values. And we define neighborhood opportunity, on the other hand, as the degree to which neighborhoods provide amenities that are integral to economic mobility. So think of living in a neighborhood and the resources available to help you live a successful and enriched life. And taking all of these facets together, we developed a framework to identify different investment strategies. So some neighborhoods may offer bargains, and these are areas where opportunity is prevalent and development costs may be lower. And these neighborhoods may be well suited for property improvements and expanding access to affordable homes. Other investment strategies could include entry. And these are neighborhoods where opportunity is prevalent and desirability is high, but recent downturns could make it more cost effective to acquire units here. Another pathway we feature focuses on revitalizing places. And these are neighborhoods that could benefit from expanding access to transit, good schools, and job opportunities. Investment strategies in these neighborhoods could use affordable housing properties as anchors to pair with health partnerships and education partnerships, and through focusing on a comprehensive redevelopment plan for the entire neighborhood. And a final pathway that we featured in this report identifies neighborhoods that are at a tipping point. These are areas that are rich in opportunity, but have a low desirability and are lagging behind the area with regards to desirability. And these are areas that could be in danger of losing ground in resources to support economic mobility and could be opportunities for strengthening partnerships and continuing to invest in the preservation of affordable homes to promote that economic mobility. And accompanying this report, we built a mapping tool, which we've linked to here. And this can help you identify not only the different investment pathways, but also the neighborhood opportunity for both transit, health, education, and job outlooks. So I encourage you to check that out. We are in the process of updating this tool, so it'll have the latest data later this year. So we'll be scheduling a webinar to give a demo of that new tool later on. But if you want to get a sneak peek, you can check it out there. Next slide, please. So before we wrap up today, I'm going to close with an update on some of the research and data to come this year. Next slide. On the research front, PAHRC is helping the 10-year roadmap for public housing sustainability achieve some of its research goals. The mission of the 10-year roadmap for public housing sustainability is to engage stakeholders to advance the evolution and preservation of public housing. And it aims to do this by developing a reinvestment plan that establishes a sustainable, affordable, and service-enriched platform that allows residents to achieve their goals. And the research that PAHRC is supporting will examine the resources needed to help basically build and maintain a sustainable public housing portfolio. Separately, we will also be conducting a study on project-based vouchers, which will highlight how this program is used to expand housing choice and access for hard-to-house populations. We'll also continue to work with NERC NARO to conduct case studies on community revitalization projects taking place across New England. And on the data front, we'll be expanding resources available through the National Housing Preservation Database. So to improve user support, we'll be updating our user guide to feature new use cases and creating a new FAQ page. So if you use the NHPD and have questions that you'd want to pose to our team, feel free to send them over and we'll be happy to add those to our FAQ page. We'll also be expanding the usability of these tools by expanding the filtering capabilities on the mapping tool that Kate demoed earlier today, as well as increasing the number of data points featured on the preservation dashboard. We will also be updating the NHPD to include properties located in U.S. territories later this summer. And as I mentioned, we'll be updating and refreshing our neighborhood opportunity search tool, so be on the lookout for that. So if you use any of these resources and would like to provide feedback, I encourage you to reach out to either Kate or myself with the contact information at the end of today's webinar. We always welcome feedback, even just beyond the data tools. We also welcome ideas and suggestions for research that would be valuable to support your work as well. But with that, we really hope that the research we discussed today provides you with some new tools to identify innovative programs to implement in your community, data to preserve affordable housing, and research to help you advocate for affordable housing programs. But as I mentioned, we only really scratched the surface. So we encourage you to access our website, pahrc.org or HAI Group's Resource Center to learn more about these resources in more detail or contact Kate or myself. But we're now going to open it up to questions. And as a reminder, you can send anything in the chat. We really appreciate your time today and your interest in our work. We know research can be really heavy sometimes, but I hope we made it light and fun and impactful to your work. Oh, thank you. If you jump ahead to the next slide, Kate, we'll have our contact information up for anyone that wants to reach out to us with follow-up questions about the data tools or research featured today. All right. Well, on behalf of everyone with PAHRC, thank you to our attendees. If you have any questions, our contact information is here. I hope you all have a great day.